Okay, today we talk about how to construct the outline, the structure for literature review. And chapter 2, chapter review. It's very important to focus on your research topic. So as this is the structure for your literature review. So I will start from the first one over here. Let's take a look about this one. So as you can see from here, that's why I always emphasize the importance of the so-called research topic. The research topic just like this one, female immigrants' perceptions of Taiwanese welfare programs, colon, a case study of interviewing 10 new female immigrants in the Kaohsiung area. So basically, how can you construct the outline for a literature review? You have to focus on 3 different issues. The first of all is the study issue. So the study issue is about perceptions, the Taiwanese welfare program, right? This is the study issue. And the other one is talk about study population. So this one is study population. So you have female immigrants, especially for 10 new female immigrants in the Kaohsiung area. So these are the study issue. And of course, the last part is about the study research methods. So the research method here is the case study of interviewing. So if you have the idea, so every research topic will have 3 major elements. So here we have the so-called study issue right over here, right? And the second one is the study population. This one, especially on the 10 new female immigrants in the Kaohsiung area, and of course the research methods. That's over here. So basically, I will make a little bit shorter, smaller, so you can see the structure here. So that is what I talk about. First of all, we focus on the study issue, then move on the study population, and then we move on to the methods of data collections. So if we identify study issue and the study population and method of data collection, basically we will have 3 different sections for our literature review. The first one, we need to give a full illustration about the immigrants' perceptions of Taiwanese welfare program. And in terms of study population, we need to provide a section of discussion on the 10 new female immigrants in the Kaohsiung area. And last of all, we have to give another section to talk about case study. Okay, so this is section 1, section 2, and section 3, right? Okay, so how will you lay out the structure for each of the section? Well, basically, there's a trick. Let me move on to the study issue part. So basically, study issue, if you look at this one, study issue. So if you look at the wording for the study issue here is immigrants. Immigrants' perceptions of Taiwanese welfare program. So how can you lay out the structure for the structure? Basically, you have to start with the smaller phrase of the study issue, the core concept, the original concept of this study issue. First of all, we start with welfare program. So you can see, if we link this one to welfare program, and this will be the grant heading that we need to have for the first one. And then we enlarge, so you can see after we have discussed welfare programs, then we have to narrow down to, because there are so many welfare programs, right? So welfare programs for immigrants. So now, welfare program, then we continue to focus on welfare program for immigrants. So this is what we have. So you can imagine this. Basically, the logic of this layout is just like a funnel, starting from a very broad discussion and then narrow down, and to something we have. So basically here is welfare program, right? And as we know that there are so many different kind of welfare programs. Some of them are for, let's say, for the poor. Some of them for the labor force. Some of them are for the immigrants. So we have to continue to just narrow down the focus to for immigrants. But in the whole wide world, there are so many welfare programs for immigrants, right? So we continue to narrow down something in Taiwan. So you can see, basically, our approach to narrow down our focus of discussion is by expanding the phrases. We start with the very small phrase, that is a welfare program. And then we enlarge it to welfare program for immigrants. And then we enlarge the phrases to say, hey, this is the welfare program for immigrants in Taiwan. So basically, along with the expansion of the phrase, starting from the shorter one to a middle one and to a longer one, actually we have narrowed down our focus gradually from the broad one to a narrow focus. So we have a welfare program for immigrants in Taiwan. So basically this, so far, we are providing the so-called theoretical framework. Theoretical framework of the study. Okay, I don't need to write out them. Framework of the study. Theoretical framework. So when you discuss the theoretical framework of in your literature review, basically you only focus on the study issue. Okay? So now let's take a look at this one. Just focus on this part. On study issue, we have the ability to identify the theoretical framework for the study. And the study issue can be expanded from the smaller phrases to larger phrases, longer phrases. And with these phrases, different phrases, we can use it to lay out the headings for our literature review. For example, welfare programs. Then we can use the history of development of welfare program, debate on welfare programs. And these two are under this one, are under welfare program. And when the next section, we discuss welfare program for immigrants, then I figure out I may need to talk about the 3 different subheadings. First of all, emergence and needs for immigrants. Welfare program designed for immigrants. And the last part is the debates on such programs. So this 3 is under this heading. So basically we have the structure here, right? And the next one we talk about welfare program for immigrants in Taiwan. So now I talk about the development of welfare program for immigrants in Taiwan, and then observed effects and efficacy of such program. So talk about this one. So as you can see, basically we use the help of the study issue to lay out the 3 larger headings over here. And based on each of the heading, we could devise subheadings that can complement the heading. So basically, under this one, you will write several paragraphs to describe history and development of welfare program. And also, you will write another several paragraphs to talk about the debates on welfare programs and so on. Okay, so now we have finished. So go through this process, you should be able to provide a sound theoretical framework for the study. And theoretical framework is purely based on study issue only. Okay? And now, other than theoretical framework, we continue to identify conceptual framework. What does conceptual framework mean here? When we talk about theoretical framework, is that we identify the welfare programs of immigrants in Taiwan, and we do have a theoretical framework for us to observe the study. But how about in terms of the specific study population? Now we are talking about the 10 new female immigrants in the Kaohsiung area, but not the, let's say, a bunch of the immigrants from America to Taiwan, or another set of immigrants from China. No, we don't talk about that. We only talk about the 10 new female immigrants in the Kaohsiung area. So basically, the theoretical framework we have identified from the previous discussion right over here may not be totally applicable to our study of the study population here. So basically, we have to. Now, let's take a look. Now we have a full discussion on the conceptual framework of the study issue. So basically, we are only count on the study issue. We are only based on the study issue to lay out a theoretical framework. So this is the theoretical framework. But this set of theoretical framework can be applied to many different kind of study population. So now we have our study population is here. Let's say our study population is here. So basically, only part of the theoretical framework can be applied into here. We cannot use all of the other section here. So basically, this is the so-called theoretical framework. And if you combine study issue and look at the study population, and then with a full discussion to have a set of the stuff here, then we call here is a conceptual framework. So that's why we need to continue to discuss by combining the consideration of study population. So now let's move on. So we move on to talk about the study population. So now study population, we have to discuss the 10 new female immigrants in the Kaohsiung area, right? So basically immigrants in Taiwan. So now you take a look. This one, history of immigrants in Taiwan, and give a rough discussion, and the distribution of immigrants in Taiwan, and immigrants' life and province in Taiwan, and the match and the mismatch of immigrants' needs and the Taiwan's welfare program. These are all related to immigrants in Taiwan. And here, let's see this one. This is somewhat combined. So basically, the match and mismatch as mismatch of immigrants' needs in Taiwan and Taiwan's welfare programs. This is what we need to identify. This is so-called conceptual framework. And this one, match as mismatch, will become the indicators for us to write our research questions. So it's very important to keep in mind. So let's take a look about here. Here is all discussion about immigrants in Taiwan, right? But let's see this one. The 10 new female immigrants in the Kaohsiung area. We have to identify the significance of the 10 immigrants in the Kaohsiung area. So basically here we have moved into the discussion of the research methods, the methods for data collection. See right over here, right? So now we move to the third part of discussion, case study in this one, because this is a case study just as we have pointed out here. a case study, right? So we have a case study right over here of interviewing. So now we have to talk about, we have to identify, provide reasons why we need to have the 10 new immigrants in the Kaohsiung area, but not some other places. Okay, so we have to discuss that. And also we have to discuss, we have to synthesize, compare, and summarize the findings, the approach of other similar studies. So based on the different studies, we could come out, this is the approach, a case study based on in-depth study interview we want to have. So this is something we need to lay out. Okay, so basically so far if you take a look about this one, how can we lay out the structure, the heading structure for the literature review? So basically we have to look at the research topic very carefully, because in any kind of research topic there must be 3 elements: study issue, study population, and methods of data collection. So if we look at the study issue, is immigrants' perceptions of Taiwanese welfare program, and the 10 study population is 10 new female immigrants and immigrants in the Kaohsiung area, and the case study is the methods of data collection. So these are the 3 primary elements for us to develop. So basically the only thing we need to do is to expand the phrase one by one. So we will start with this one, welfare program, and we put up here, and then we continue to include immigrants. So welfare program for immigrants, and then continue to include Taiwanese perception and Taiwanese in Taiwan. So this is welfare programs for immigrants in Taiwan. Okay, so basically this is the general heading that you need to lay out for yourself. And how about the subheadings? You have to think about what kind of subheading you want to include. Have to be depend on what kind of topic you have. It's all up to you to lay out. And this is my version. You could have your own, but it has to be logical in the sequence. It has to be logical in the sequence. Okay? So now I will give you a comparison about what it would look like. That is, let me see if we have the file out. Okay. So let's take a look about this one, and maybe I can. Okay. Okay, so let's compare these two. So this is the structure for literature review, right? So you can see welfare program is right over here. So here is the welfare program. So we have, so you see, this is the heading for this one. Welfare program, right? And we have welfare programs for immigrants. So here, welfare program for immigrants, and then the welfare programs for immigrants in Taiwan. So these are all the subheadings we have: history and development welfare programs. So now we have these two, and also we have emergence and needs of immigrants welfare programs and activates on such programs. So you can see we have this. So these are the subheadings for us to develop. And this, again, we have a development welfare program, observe effects in efficacy of such program for welfare program immigrants in Taiwan. So you can see the corresponding with this one and this one, right? Okay, So the next one is about immigrants in Taiwan. So here is the immigrants in Taiwan, and let's move up a little bit. So the next section we talk about the immigrants in Taiwan. So here is the immigrants in Taiwan, right? And under it, there are 4 different subheadings: history, distribution, and immigrants' life problems, match and mismatch. So you can see they are corresponding to be here. Is that right? Okay, the next one is the research methods for the study. So now we have significance of the 10 immigrants first, and then methodological approach of similar studies, and then we have a case study based on the in-depth interview. So you can see basically the structure, the outline here. The outline here is basically based on this part. Okay, I should make it shorter, smaller. Okay, let's see one more time. Can give you a much better visual. So look here, this is one, right? And this actually come out from here. They are corresponding to each other with some minor revisions. So if you look at this one, although we have in paper, on paper we could only have this structure, but actually this structure come out from here, come out from the careful layout of the logical process. So this is study issue. So basically over here, is related to this part, right? You can see it, right? And now this part is discussing theoretical framework. And next we move on to conceptual framework by including the consideration of study population. So now we have here. So did you notice that the match and the mismatch of immigrants' needs and Taiwan's welfare program? Here is the indicators we identify from the conceptual framework. And these indicators will be the major elements for us to write our research questions. Okay? And the last part is about research methods. So here is here. Okay? So you must have observed about one critical issue is that when we talk about literature review, basically we provide 2 kinds of discussion. One is about theory we are going to use in the study. The other one is about the research methods we are going to use to collect data and analyze the data. So basically only 2 elements. So in terms of theory, there are 2 parts. One is about theoretical framework. The other one is about conceptual framework. And when you discuss theoretical framework, you only focus on study issue. But when you need to discuss with the conceptual framework, you have to combine with study issue and the study population. And after you have this discussion, you should be able to identify the indicators from your conceptual framework that we can use to lay out the basic for your research questions. Okay, so now let's take a look about this one. So now your homework for today is very simple. Is first of all is to draw a similar chart just like this one, and also okay, draw a picture like this one, and look at your own research title very carefully and go through your study issue, study population, and methods of data collection, and lay it out carefully, and figure out the large heading and a small heading. And remember, you have to make a smaller phrase, shorter phrase, and then longer phrase by including more words, and longer phrase by even more words. So doing this, you could have a structure from a broader one to a narrower discussion. Okay, so this homework is due by next Monday noon. I believe that you can do it. Okay, and then after you have this, and then you have to convert it into a paper, on a piece of paper, something like this. So this is literature review and web program history. See, heading 1, heading 2, and heading 1 and heading 2, right? So this is the roughly you need to do. So let's just do this for today, and I hope that you can just review this video clips so many times, and I believe that you could do it quite well. Okay, if you have any problem, question, you can just line me. And also I will send up the file onto our night group. You can just go there and take a look. Okay, see ya, have fun.